Welcome learners, this is Teacher Josephat. I want to say that this morning or this afternoon or this evening, I want us to go through formation of political parties, and especially those political parties that were formed or which were formed between 1945 to 1963. We want to look at the characteristics of these political parties and how they were formed. And maybe to start with, I'm going to commence with the Kenya African Union. I'll be very brief, and I'll also go deep into what I want to explain so that the learners can get it very clear. Like, for example, to start with, allow me to commence with Kenya African Union. You know, when you talk about Kenya African Union, the first thing that learners need to know, or the first thing that we need to know, is that Kenya African Union was the first major political party to be formed in Kenya. This was the first major political party to be formed in Kenya, and it was formed on 10th October 1944. So you will realize that there were those who founded, the pioneer of Kenya African Union. So we want to look at the founder members of KAU. Who are the founder members of KAU? There are people like Eliud Madhu, and remember, Eliud Madhu was a graduate from Fort Hare and Oxford University and a former teacher at Alliance School. So he was among the founder members of KAU. There was James Gishuru, there was Jonathan Njoroge, J.D. Otiende, Francis Hamisi, there was Henry Mraniki, there was Albert Owino, Ambrose Ofafa, there was S. Mufandi, and you also know that we have interim officials. When this political party was formed, we had interim officials. So the interim officials of KAU, they were as follows. One was Harry Dhuku, and Harry Dhuku was chairman. There was Francis Hamisi, who was the secretary. Albert Owino was the treasurer. And also we had the interim committee. The interim committee of KAU were as follows. The interim committee comprises of John Kambajo, James Gishuru, Simon Mutandi, S.O. Josiah, there was Nganga, there was Jimmy Jeremiah, and there was also Simeon Mfandi and Harry Ole Nengurai. Those ones were the interim committee. Remember, we have talked about interim officials like Harry Dhuku, Francis Hamisi, and Albert Owino, and also we have talked about interim committee, who comprises of James Gishuru, John Kambajo, Kambaso, or whichever the name, Simeon, and there was Henry, S.O. Josiah, there was Nganga, and even Jimmy Jeremiah. Among the interim committee, there were also J.B. Otiende and S.D. Jakai. So when it was formed, it represented Kenya from all parts of the country. The main objective of KAU were as follows. The main objective. What were the objective? Objective are the aims. So sometimes you can be asked to state the aims of KAU when it was formed. Why was it formed? So you will realize that this KAU was formed to assist Eliud Madhu in his new task in the Lajiko. Remember, Eliud Madhu was the first African to be nominated in the Lajiko in 1944. Number two, to provide a multi-ethnic organization for the advancement for African interest. It was provide a multi-ethnic organization for the advancement for African interest. Then three, also the aim of KAU was to advocate for the more constitutional reforms or changes. And also finally, KAU, one of the objectives was to articulate the need for better living and working condition of Africa. As you know very well that Africans were subjected to forced labor by the Europeans. So only 2 weeks after his formation, the governor ordered, that was the colonial governor. The colonial governor by then was Sir Evelyn Baring. So Sir Evelyn Baring, just 2 weeks after the formation of COW, he ordered the official to change the name to KASU. That is Kenya African Study Union. So colonial governor Sir Evelyn Baring ordered for the official change the name of COW to be KASU, and the governor argued that since it was formed to help Madhu, the name KASU was appropriate, as the association could be more involved in studying African problem. So that was the reason Evelyn Baring gave out, as he was ordering or demanding for the change of COW to be KASU. I'm repeating this, that only 2 weeks after the formation of COW, colonial governor by the name Sir Evelyn Baring ordered the official to change the name of COW to KASU, and he had argued that since it was formed to help Madhu, the name KASU was appropriate, as in the association will be more involved in studying African problem. And therefore, from January 1945, James Gishuru became the president of KASU, and this happened after the resignation of Harry Dhuku. Harry Dhuku was a radical, and therefore he resigned when the name was changed. So under Gichuru, KASU made significant achievement, like the KASU, or the association, pushed a newspaper, and the newspaper which was pushed for was called Sauti ya Mwafrika, yani the Voice of Africa, and Francis Amisi was the main editor of the newspaper. So when you are asked to state the main editor of Sauti ya Mwafrika, of the Voice of Africa, which was pushed for by members of KASU like James Gishuru, you say that this guy was known as Francis Hamisi. He was the main editor of the newspaper. So this newspaper, the so-called Sauti ya Mwafrika, or the Voice of Africa, the newspaper was used to articulate the grievances of the failing of the associations to the colonial government, like the proposal East African Federation. So James and Kamisi traveled to Uganda and Tanzania to convince Africans on the danger of accepting the federation, that is the proposal East African Federation. And by 1946, the leaders felt that the name KASU was inappropriate. Why? Since they were no longer studying the problem affecting Africans. They were involved in the political affairs of the country with a view of improving African life and eventually acquiring African independence. So in February 1946, at the second annual delegate conference, members of KASU rejected the word study, claiming they had studied enough. When they dropped the word study, the African claimed that they had learned, they had studied enough, they have learned enough, and there was no need again to study anymore. And thus they proposed a change of name so as to revert the name to KOW, the original name. Therefore, when they reverted to KOW, the main objective were, so after again, KOW was changed to KASU, and this one happened as a result of the order which was given by Sir Evelyn Baring, the then colonial governor. Now the African leaders, it was like enough was enough, and therefore they decided just to abandon or to drop the word study and get back to KOW. So what were the main objective of new KOW? We have old KOW and new KOW. So the objective of new KOW, one was to unite the African people, 2, to encourage the economic, social and political interest of the Africans, and 3, to assist Eliud Mathu in his main task in the Lajiko. So those ones were the 3 main objectives of new KOW. to unite the African people, to encourage the economic, social, and political interest of the Africans, and also to assist one of our own, Eliud Mathu, in his main task in the Lajiko. What were some of the grievances or the demands of KAU? KAU, one of the demands was the abolition of forced labor and the Kipande system, self-government for Africans, that is independence, more seats in the Lajiko, a compulsory education among the Africans, equality in wages and salaries among all races, improvement in the living condition of Africans, and also abolition of heavy taxation, return of the African lands which were alienated, and issuing of title deeds to Africans. They were also against undermining of African cultural practices, end to racial discrimination, compensation for African ex-servicemen, and finally release of African prisoners. Those ones were some of the grievances or the demands which were made by KAU. The grievances which were made by KAU, they were as clear as they were forwarded. So the return of Jomo Kenyatta in 1946 after 15 years in London was a big boost for KAU. His return was a big boost of mass nationalism. So election was done and Kenyatta became the chairman. James Gishuru, the vice chairman. Ambrose Fafa, secretary. So under the leadership of Kenyatta, he was determined to build KAU. So he appealed for unity and hard work in the party. He traveled and addressed meetings in Nyeri, Kisumu, Mumias, and even Eldoret. That was Jomo Kenyatta. He was in London for 15 good years. He also traveled to Kakamega, Kiambaa, and Meru, where he urged people to form and strengthen KAU. Even though Jomo Kenyatta came back to strengthen KAU, still KAU was faced with a lot of challenges. There were some problems that KAU as a party encountered, as in there was a major standard between the radical and the moderate functions within the party. The radicals led by Fred Kubai, Paul Ngei, advocate, the use of force to acquire independence, while moderates favored the use of peaceful constitutional means. So one of the problems that faced KAU was ideological differences among leaders, and this one was conflict between radicals. So when you ask, main problem that faced KAU was conflict between radicals, ideological differences among leaders, as some were moderate and some were radicals. Number two problem was inadequate funds, as in KAU did not have adequate funds to finance all the program, e.g. its offices of IBER, building Nairobi, were closed down due to failure to pay rent. Number three, there was lack of effectiveness, lack of effective leadership. There was nothing like that. So that was a problem. Like, for example, Kenyatta was too busy to run the affairs of the party efficiently, as he was also the principal of the teachers college. So there was a lack of effective leadership. There was also hostile colonial administrative. That was another problem. Hostile colonial administrative, and I will explain this. Like, for example, the party also faced hostility from colonial administrations, e.g., subsequent detention of KAU leaders. Next was widespread of ethnic division. The widespread of ethnic division further complicated the situation. The party was seen as Kikuyu dominated, at the expense of other communities. Another one was lack of political awareness. The African had not developed enough political effort required. They were illiterate. They were never elite. So the differences among the KAU leaders led to takeover of Nairobi branch of the party by radicals who included Fred Kubai, Kungu Karomba, Bildad Kagea, and Paul Ngei. So many of these radicals belong to the prescribed Kikuyu Central Association. They demanded the removal of moderates from the community, and in 1951, KAU members in Nairobi decided to revisit the activities of KAU and make it more radical in pursuing its politics. So radical leaders were elected to KAU as follows. Fred Kubai was the chairman, Bildad Kagea secretary, J.M. Mugai the vice chairman. So under the radical leadership, KAU revised its nationalist activities. A central committee, that is muhimu, was set up to coordinate all-thing activities of the Mau Mau movement. So the government was scared by the renewed KAU activities and its support of Mau Mau. So in response, all KAU rallies outside Nairobi were banned. KAU leaders were also forced to denounce the governor, Sir Evelyn Baring. KAU leaders were also forced to denounce the governor, Sir Evelyn Baring, declared a state of emergency on 20th October 1952, following the murder of Chief Waruhiu Itote, that were Kungu, and Tom Mbotela, the loyalist of colonial government. So all the national of the Kapenguria 6 and the district leaders were arrested and detained. And they were include Jomo Kenyatta, Paul Ngei, Kungu Karomba, Chieng Oneko, Bildad Kagea, and Fred Kubai. Remember, these people were arrested and the state of emergency was declared on 20th October 1952 following the murder of Chief Waruhiu Wakungu and Tom Mbotela. These ones were very loyal to the colonial government, and when they were murdered, Sir Evelyn Baring now declared a state of emergency, and because the radical leaders were arrested, Jomo Kenyatta, Paul Ngei, Kungu Karomba, Chieng Oneko, Bildad Kagea, and Fred Kubai. These guys were arrested. They are called Kapenguria 6. So other members acted swiftly and elected new office bearers. E.g., there was someone like Fanuel Odede. When Jomo Kenyatta and the rest were arrested, Fanuel Odede became the president of KAU, Joseph Murumbi the secretary, and W.W. Awori became the treasurer. So KAU continued for struggle and demanded the release of the detainees. They demanded for the release of the Kapenguria 6. Those ones were the members of KAU. So when Oliver Littleton, the secretary of the state of colonial, came to Kenya soon after the state of emergency was declared, KAU presented him with the 24-point memorandum outlining what they understand to be a major cause of violence in Kenya. This included the muzzling of African voice in politics, arbitrary detention of African leaders, the land problem, and economic inequality. They also called on the colonial government to release Kenyatta and his KAU colleagues. KAU also engaged a British lawyer by name the D.N. Pritt to defend the Kapenguria 6. So the acting president of KAU, Walter Odede, was later arrested on 9th March 1953, while Joseph Murumbi escaped to Bombay in India. KAU was subsequently banned on 8th June 1953. So from the time KAU was banned up to 1955, there was no political party in Kenya. What were the achievements of KAU? Some members of the party gave both moral and material support to the Mau Mau freedom fighters. 2. The party provided guidance and political support to Eliud Mathu, that is the African representation in the LGCO. The party laid down the foundation for the growth of KANU that ushered Kenya into political independence, and some of the members of the party were active, like for example Fred Kubai and Bildad. So that is all I can say about KAU. That's all I can say about cow. I want to say that next time we'll still look at Mau Mau. You see, what about Mau Mau? How Mau Mau was formed. But for now, I want to say, may God bless you. Protect yourself, protect your children, and ensure you follow the government directive during this global pandemic. It is really disheartening. It is really disheartening, as I said. It has brought a lot of challenges. It has really brought a lot of challenges to us. The economy has gone down. Everything's down. Our children are not learning. And I'd also like to urge our parents, kindly please take good control of your girl child or our girl children. Kindly please ensure you take good care of them, because there are these opportunistic, yes, they have taken advantage of our feeble children. They are now impregnating them, and primarian or secondarian, they are still weak when it comes to issues of relationship. Yeah, we are really tired of such things. Kindly please take good care of your children. Teachers are still alive. We'll work on them when they are back to school. But for now, I want to urge my parents to kindly take care of their children. Let your child have what we call self-respect. That one will enable him or her, yes, to prosper and will realize his or her future. I want to say thank you, and may God bless you abundantly. Kindly like, share, comment, subscribe, touch the bell for more videos. My YouTube channel. Subscribe my YouTube channel at Josephat Okoth. There are a lot of lessons. There are a lot in my YouTube channel. Kindly support me. I will also support you. Thank you.